Going the distance with local sports. This is the X Sports Network.
Being raised in Tennessee, we believe in the importance of family and community. Creating a positive experience at our family-owned and operated business is one of the ways we share that belief.
Being in an accident can be extremely stressful. When it came time for my repairs, Mashburn's made it easy.
I am lucky to have a wonderful company in my community like Mashburn's Collision Center. It's reassuring to know that I'm in good hands because their work is second to none.
We pride ourselves that the Mashburn name is one of the most trusted in Lawrence County since 1981. Mashburn's Collision Center. Let our family take care of yours.
Shop McMaster's Home Gallery for furniture, appliances, and more. And shop quality, shop convenience, shop service, shop local. A family-owned business with a long history of serving the region. We're a one-stop home furnishings destination. We feature brands you know, competitively priced, backed by professional installation and service. You can trust that we'll take good care of you before and after the sale. For your home, shop smart. Shop McMaster's Home Gallery today.
Got primary care? Find your way to better health with primary care by One Stop Medical. With decades of combined experience, you'll find a one-on-one relationship just like the old days, but with the convenience and technology of today. When One Stop Medical does primary care, it's the best. Call today for an appointment and find your way to healthy living. Serving Lawrenceburg, Pulaski, and Hohenwald. Phone 931-244-8220. Primary care by One Stop Medical at its best.
From our humble beginnings to today, Parks Lumber Company has continuously served Lawrence and surrounding counties for over a century. Although we started as a small lumber yard in 1896, we have grown to include everything you need to make your dream project come to life. No matter your building needs, our experienced staff will be with you every step of the way to ensure you receive the highest customer service and attention to detail you deserve. Visit us at 106 2nd Street or on Facebook. We guarantee you will see working with PLC. You will see working with PLC is as easy as 1, 2, 3.
There are now more ways to save at Quick Mart. Become a Quick Club member and easily earn rewards on qualifying purchases at Quick Mart convenience stores using the Quick Club app, available on the Apple App Store and Google Play. To save on fuel for work, use the Fuel Rewards Pro app to earn 5 cents a gallon on work fill-ups and redeem the savings for yourself. To get started, visit fuelrewards.com/pro or download the app in the Apple App Store and Google Play.
Going the distance with local sports. This is the X Sports Network.
And good afternoon, everybody. Welcome in here to the X Sports Network for this edition of the Mark My Words Sports Show here on the X Sports Network. And again, it is a Tuesday edition. We're trying to move the show around this week. 2 shows in 2 days. We'll have one today and tomorrow. And we got a lot to get to, folks, because we've got high school sports that we've finally wrapped up. Basketball, we're fully into baseball and softball mode now here locally, and then on the college side of things, we have a lot to get into. We have a full round of 62, a full round of 30, a full round of 64, full round of 32 to break down. We may even talk about the first 4 games a little bit. And then on Wednesday, we'll do more preview for the Sweet 16 and try to catch all up on some college baseball because it feels like that sport just kind of gets put on hold when it comes to NCAA tournament time. But we will jump right into it just with a quick update on all of our local teams. First, on the baseball side of things, we'll go from south to north for the 3 high schools. Starting off Loretto, 2-2 on the season following their loss last night against Cascade. Summertown 6-3 coming off a win, 9-6 win against Dixon County, and then Lawrence County 8-3 coming off a win against Lexington 6-2. On the softball side of things, Loretto 1-7 coming off a loss last Friday to Community. Summertown coming off a win last night against Cornersville 13-0. The Lady Eagles 5-3 on the season, and then Lawrence County 4-5-1 coming off a loss against Lincoln County. Now for our schedule today, pretty much everybody is playing today except Lawrence County baseball, and they've played more games than everybody else, so I think it's a well-deserved break for them. But we have Game 2 of the Loretto Cascade Series. Time a little iffy. Loretto baseball Facebook says 6:30. I think Cascades or the radio that's for Cascade says 6. Either way, we'll be there. We'll have it covered either at 6 or 6:30. Doesn't matter. But we will have that covered on the X Sports Network. Summertown, the Eagles on the road taking on Spring Hill. That game will be at 6 p.m. at Spring Hill. We will have that game covered as well. On the softball side of things, Lawrence County, Franklin County playing tonight at 5:30 here at Lawrence County High School. The game will be at 5:30 on the X Sports Network. And then the Lady Mustangs are playing at home at 4:30 today against Rogers on the X Sports Network. And then Summertown will be pretty much right across the football field from me. Summertown softball opening up district play against Cascade. That game will be at 5:30 on the X Sports Network. So a lot going on in high school sports right now. Loretto just got a bunch of guys back from basketball. Obviously, the team just finished up their season last Friday was their last game. Final Four finish. I'd say we're starting to get some Sports Writers Associations releasing their final rankings. The Loretto boys finished 4th in the state. Loretto girls finished 3rd. Definitely, and I believe Summertown's girls also finished inside the top 10 as well. So definitely nothing to hang their heads about. And I mean, basketball is a very serious sport around here, and you see why with all the success that we've had around here over the past. I mean, we could go back, 10, 15 years for some of these schools. So it's good to see some success there. Obviously for Loretto, at least on a baseball and softball side, still trying to get those players back from basketball mode into baseball or softball mode, because it's a big transition. You haven't been able to practice with all the guys. You haven't been able to get as many swings in, as many bullpens, as many this, that, and the other. So it's going to be some growing pains right now for the Mustangs, but I expect a big bounce back tonight. Summertown, Spring Hill, Spring Hill baseball, going to be a tough contest, but listen, Summertown is definitely not afraid to test themselves early, and, again, with as tough as the district's going to be, you're going to want to put some tough games on that schedule to get you ready, and I think Spring Hill is definitely one of those. Lawrence County, Franklin County, obviously a district matchup there on the softball side of things. I think Lawrence County has done a really good job testing themselves outside of district play. Obviously, that tournament at the beach, I could say the same for Summertown softball coming up. I think that tournament that they played at Gulf Shores really helped them. I mean, you got to see some really talented teams. Walker Valley, I'd expect them to be one of the better teams in 4A this year. And then your only other loss down there was to you had a tie against Franklin and then to Gulf Shores High School. And, they had a big win over Summertown, so that tells you how good they are. Loretto, Rogers, again, Lady Mustangs just trying to get back on the right track. Again, a tough loss to Community last Friday, but again, you know how good Community is. Probably one of the best pitchers in the state. So Loretto, it will be a much better competition for them with Rogers tonight. And then Summertown, Cascade. Haven't seen Cascade on the softball side of things yet, but again, if this district is anywhere near as competitive as it is in boys basketball and in girls basketball, you would expect Cascade to be pretty good. But again, you have Summertown, you got Forest, you have Cascade and Community and Loretto all in one district. That's a ton of fun across all of these sports. So we will take a quick break, and when we return, we have a lot to get into because we had the NCAA Tournament start last Thursday. I haven't had a show since last Tuesday, so we're going to break down not every game, but pretty much every game that needs talking about, we're going to talk about, and we may even break down a couple of the Sweet 16 matchups, and that will be when we return here on the Mark My Words Sports Show.
Top quality equipment rentals at the right price. It's not too good to be true at Rent Right Equipment and Sales. We guarantee clean, reliable products that are up to your standards. Our family-owned business has been doing that for more than 40 years. Let our friendly and knowledgeable staff take care of you from purchase to maintenance. Saws, drills, lifts, mowers, generators, you name it, we've got it. Stop by and see our inventory today, located on Buffalo Road in Lawrenceburg.
Did you know that Resource MFG, an employee bridge company in Lawrenceburg, is the first and largest national manufacturing staffing company? They work alongside the top plants and facilities in the area to provide you with job opportunities in production, quality, maintenance, supervision, and all levels of management. Resource MFG has positions open right now to meet your needs today and a full staff ready to work with industrial partners to grow opportunities for this generation of workers and the next. Reach out today and start your employment journey with Resource MFG. At Smith Tax and Business Service, we offer many services. Along with personal income tax prep, we also offer tax preparation for corporations and partnerships. If you're a small business and looking for some extra help, give us a shout and we'll get you fixed up. Call Mary Beth Smith, Marion Matthews, Brooklyn Bates, or Michelle Staggs to find out how we can help you. Located at 208 Pulaski Street, phone 931-244-6633.
Are you tired of missing out on family life just to be treated like another truck number? Since 1986, Southeast Carriers has been a family-operated business based in Lawrenceburg, Tennessee. Being family-owned ourselves, we understand the importance of family, which is why we value it above all else. With our large number of dedicated lanes and our friendly staff, we are able to evenly divide your home time with the amount of time you spend on the road. We offer multiple benefits with large company pay now starting at $20 per hour, all while keeping a small company environment. For more information, visit our website, southeastcarriers.com, or check us out on Instagram and Facebook.
Going the distance with local sports. This is the X Sports Network.
And welcome back to the Mark My Words College Sports Show here on the X Sports Network. I'm your host, Michael Marks, and we are getting into March Madness. It is my favorite month of the year when it comes to sports because you have so much going on. You've got spring practices starting for football. You're getting right into the start of conference play in baseball. And then you have what some people would argue are the 68 best teams in the country going at it for a chance to bring home a national championship. Now, unfortunately, my bracket that I made live here on our show had a rough go of it. Not gonna try to shy away from that one bit. But I did make a second bracket. It was one that I made the morning before the games, and I'm going to ride with that one. Now, unfortunately, one of my Final Four teams already eliminated, but we will jump into that one. So we're going to start in the East region, the blue blood region, so to speak, with the 116 game that is probably going to be the only 116 game I talk about with the Duke Blue Devils and the Siena Saints. Funny enough, a Saint Devil matchup there in the first round, and unfortunately the Devils won this one in that sense, I guess, but Cam Boozer shows you exactly why he's probably the first pick in the draft. 22 points, 13 rebounds, 3 assists, a bit of a turnover problem. We'll talk about that in a moment. You got a big game from Isaiah Evans, 16 points, 10 boards for him, but I think the undoubted MVP of this game, Caden Boozer, comes off, is thrust into a starting role. Him and his brother, the only people that played over 30 minutes in this game, goes 19 points, 5 assists, no turnovers. That's huge. Obviously, I know the loss of Caleb Foster was pretty detrimental to Duke. I mean, you got a point guard that's been your point guard for 30-some-odd games this season, and you go down and kind of have to hand that role over to a freshman. Now, Caden Boozer is not like most freshmen. He is extremely talented. I believe was a 5-star. His brother obviously was one of the 2 or 3 best players in the country coming out of high school. But I'll tell you, Siena did not give up whatsoever. Gavin Doty had 21 points for him, 12 points from Brenton Coyle, 4 for 9 from 3, and then 18.7 boards from Francis Folafak. And unfortunately for Siena, Jerry McNamara, the head coach, took the job at Syracuse. I mean, he coached under Boeheim for forever, so obviously that's going to be his dream job right there. It stinks for Siena to see their run come to an end like this. As a 16 seed, possibly taking down one of the best teams ever. I mean, this isn't on the level of UMBC upsetting Virginia or FDU upsetting Purdue. This is a 16 seed taking down one of the better college teams, at least analytic wise. I believe this year's Duke team is on KenPom the highest rated team of all time, even better than Duke last year. So would have been a super upset, but Duke there in the final 10 minutes really closed that one out extremely well and advanced to the round of 32. Now, the first game of the day was the TCU and Ohio State. Not a whole lot really to talk about. Xavier Edmonds hits that layup there under 5 seconds to give the Horned Frogs their edge. But listen, TCU had pretty much 3 guys. Micah Robinson, obviously. David Punch, 16 and 13 in that game, 13 boards. And then Edmonds, obviously, the man that hits the layup. But the rest of the team only scores 16 points. Did a relatively good job holding Ohio State. Bruce Thornton only 10 points and played all 40 minutes. John Mobley only 15. Every Ohio State starter scored 10 points, but nobody scored more than 15. I think that's impressive defensively and was a huge win for TCU to set up a next round matchup against Duke. St. John's, Northern Iowa, not a whole lot to talk about there. Just a really good opening round game for St. John's. Zuby Ejiofor, a double-double, 14 and 11. 4 blocks. He has been a beast in this tournament. Bryce Hopkins, 13 points, 6 boards. And Uzziah Sellers, 11 points, 3 rebounds, and 7 points, 9 boards from Dylan Mitchell. And Ian Jackson gives you 9 points off the bench. Ruben Prey, 8 points off the bench. This is a defensive St. John's team that likes to get out and run. And when those guys do, it works. I mean, 13 assists on 27 made baskets isn't crazy. Only shooting 40% from the field, but it was enough to get it done. Kansas over Cal Baptist 68-60. The Lancers, really other than Dominic Daniels, didn't have a whole lot of offense. You get 40 combined from Daniels and Martell Williams. On the Kansas side of things, Darren Peterson was really the only one that showed up, played 37 minutes, and can't fault him for that. That was something that he got a lot of dirt for, including from me early in the season about not playing. He was out there, and you see why he's probably going to be the top pick in the draft. Trey White gives you 12 and 7. Bryson Tiller, 6 points, 10 boards. Flory Badunga, I get he's been a little banged up, and him and Tiller, I get we're in a bit of foul trouble in that game, but didn't play much. And when they were out there, other than rebounding, which Kansas got out-rebounded, didn't seem like they were doing too much, and you can credit that to Cal Baptist on slowing the game down. But really good defensive game. Neither team shot over 40%. Neither team over 24% from 3. And really, it was just Cal Baptist struggles from the line that end up hurting them. Louisville took down who I thought was my Cinderella, USF, 83-79. I mean, listen, USF made it a game in the second half. They came all the way back and were that close. Isaiah Nelson, 22 points, 9 rebounds, 27 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, and 4 steals from Joseph Pinion. And they were right there. But it was a big day for Isaac McNeely, of all people. 7 of 10 from 3, 8 of 11 from the field. He's not had a game like that all year. I mean, he may have had one game like that, a 20-point game, but not 7 threes, was huge in lifting Louisville up over a very talented South Florida team. 18 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists from Ryan Cromwell, 10 points from Javon Hadley, a bit of a slow game from him. Adrian Woolley, only 4 points. Sanaja Frew, 10 points, 10 rebounds off the bench. I thought Louisville had a chance at a run. After that, I just thought their offense was too potent, but they ran into a team we'll talk about in a little bit with Michigan State. Their first round game against North Dakota State, went about as well as you thought it would go, a 92-67 win there. For Michigan State, Carson Cooper goes for 20 and 10. Jeremy Fears, 7 points, 11 assists. I mean, that's his game. Cohen Carr with 17 points. Jackson Kohler with 12 and 9. You got 13 points from Cam Ward off the bench. This is a deep Michigan State team, and I'm really pumped that they're one of the teams still standing. UCLA, a 4-point win over UCF, 75-71. If you watch that first half, UCF looked awful, and then you watch the second half, and UCLA looked awful, but it was good enough to score 40 points in the second half and get a win. 22 points from Jordan Burks, 13 from Riley Kugel, 10 from Jamichael Stillwell and Themis Folks for UCF. On the side of the Bruins, though, it was just a starting five. They scored all but 5 points in this game. 20 points, 5 rebounds from Eric Daly. Trent Perry with 15 points, 15 and 8 from Xavier Booker. Donovan Dent goes for 10 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, no turnovers. That's his big thing. And then Sky Clark with 8 points for the Bruins as they advance to the round of 32. UConn and Furman, our final game in the East region for the round of 32. And, Taurus Reed had one of the best games from a big man that you can see nowadays. 31 points and 27 rebounds. Absolutely insane. He had 11 offensive rebounds on his own. He out-rebounded Furman by himself. If nobody from UConn grabbed a rebound, which it feels like there weren't many, the rest of the team only had 17, it was him. He was everywhere. Alex Caravan, 4 for 9 from 3. Braden Mullins, a good game, solo ball, and Malachi Smith dishing it out. Just a good win for UConn as they picked up win number 30. So we will go to the round of 32 now in the East region. Duke over TCU, 81-58. And listen, after that first Duke game, Boozer said it, and I believe it was Malik Brown, him or Isaiah Evans won after their first round games, pretty much just saying, yeah, we thought it was going to be handed to us. So now you have an underperforming Duke team that is, a man down. Now, you got Patrick Gongla back for this game, at least for 13 minutes. So you're a man, almost 2 men down, and you're a little entitled, and not in a good way. I'd like to think that Duke knows that they're the best team in this tournament, but you still got to go out and play the games because rarely does the actual best team in the country win the national championship. We've had some big upsets. For TCU, 12 points, 2 rebounds for Xavier Edmonds. David Punch couldn't get anything going. 1 of 10 shooting for him. Micah Robinson puts up 18 and 5, but again, TCU had 3 guys, and if one of them's not hitting, it's going to be a long day. And for Duke, again, everybody contributing. Caden Boozer, 9 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists. Another double-double from Cam Boozer, 19 and 11, but 5 turnovers again. Maybe something to keep an eye on. Duke had nearly 20 turnovers in this game, and that's not something you see from a team that wins national championships. Malik Brown, 12 points. Dame Sarr, 4 for 7 from outside. Isaiah Evans gives you 17, and a Duke 81-58 win that didn't feel like a 23-point game. It was a 4-point game at the half, and one where Duke really ballooned their lead in the second half. Now, St. John's and Kansas was, I don't know, there were so many great second-round games. I want to say this is one of the best, but there were so many great ones that we'll just have to get to it when we get to it. This was a big game for Zuby Ejiofor. He started his career at Kansas and didn't want it to end against Kansas. He had 18 and 9. Bryce Hopkins gives you 18 points, 6 and 9 from 3. I feel like that was his best game of the season, at least from outside. And Dylan Darling, 2 points. And typically I'm not going to talk about a guy with 2 points, but when it's a 2 points that wins your team the game, that was the first points he had scored, that layup. He wanted the ball at the end of the game. He was willing to sort of be able to take the flack if he missed, and he hit it. Just awesome execution from St. John's. There was about 15 seconds left when Kansas tied it up, and St. John's got the ball back. And Kansas, I think, only had like 2 personals or something like that in the second half, 2 or 3 at that point in the game. And so they were trying to run down a couple seconds at a time and then foul. Run down a couple seconds and then foul. Just to eat up as much clock as they could. It got down to about 4 or 5 seconds. Darling drives in, hits the layup because nobody was even, nobody was really near him. He was just able to get inside because obviously Kansas went all the way up to 6 fouls, I believe. And if it was 5, then I'm, kind of curious about the lack of defense. Just don't foul. Don't want to send them to the line. Don't want them to hit a free throw to win the game. So nobody guarded, and Darling gets his first 2 points of the game. I believe he's the first player to have his first points in a tournament game be a buzzer beater. The second for his first made shot to be a buzzer beater. Somebody from believe it was DePaul or something like that in the 50s, hit a couple of free throws, and then hit his last shot that was a buzzer beater. For Kansas, Darren Peterson had a bit of an off day, 5 of 15 shooting, 21 points for him. Melvin Council, 15 and 9. Flory Badunga, 12 points, 5 rebounds. Bryson Tiller didn't score. And not saying he is a 15-point per game kind of guy, but I mean, you can't get 6 or 8 points from this guy. Because I get Dylan Mitchell, Zuby Ejiofor, extremely good defensively, but I mean, they were causing problems. Big problems. And, Kansas did out-rebound St. John's, but St. John's forced 16 Kansas turnovers to their 8. Were able to get off 15 more shots, and for a team that can't shoot, they're going to need to get those more shots up, and took 35 threes to Kansas's 14. Listen, I'm a big proponent I love a good mid-range jumper. I love driving to the basket. I love a back-to-the-basket post player. You're not going to win a single tournament game shooting 14 threes. It's not the way the game's played, and really the only three-point shooter on this team was Darren Peterson. And that's your point guard. And listen, I'm going to talk about a team whose best three-point shooter is their point guard and how it may come to their demise here in a little bit. So that sets up a Duke-St. John's matchup in the Sweet 16. We'll hop to the bottom side of this bracket, where Michigan State, a 77-69 win over Louisville, a big game on the Michigan State side from Cohen Carr, 21 points, 10 rebounds for the Flyer. I mean, that dude, it's insane athleticism. I mean, just getting up and down. Jeremy Fears, 12 points, 16 assists, I believe is close to a tournament record, I believe a Michigan State record. Those are Magic Johnson's records, so definitely some good company there. Jackson Kohler, only 10 points, 9 from Carson Cooper. Didn't need a whole lot. Trey Fort gives you 12 off the bench with 3 threes. But really, when you got Cohen Carr and Fears and Kohler and Fort, and then that defense, I couldn't need a whole lot. For Louisville, and Isaac McNeely goes from hitting 7 threes to hitting 3. 21 points from Ryan Conwell. Adrian Woolley had a bit of a slow game. Javon Hadley, though, I mean, complete no-show in his last game of the season. 2 points on 1 of 8 shooting, 0 of 4 from 3, 2 turnovers. I mean, if he has an average game of 12 points, you win. And nobody picked up the slack. And this was a team that, without Michael Brown, if one of their guys wasn't having a game, and it was both McNeely and Hadley that struggled this time, good luck. Tough way to end for Louisville, but I don't think they had their full team together long enough for them to be a serious contender to make a run here. And that kind of hurts. You spend a lot of money on a freshman, and he doesn't play when it matters. And I'm not nothing against Brown. He is injured. I don't want to say I'm throwing flack at him like I was with Peterson. But on the Louisville side of things, they gave him this money for him to play the whole season, and he's not there at the end, and that hurts a game plan. Because with Brown, they're maybe still playing. They might be, because I think his size, I think would have given Jeremy Fears a ton of problems. And the last game of the night, the 2-7 matchup, UCLA and UConn. A big 16-point win for the Huskies, 73-57. And again, UCLA, they have it's not a great offense. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. They've had games where they put up 80 points, 90 points. But if they're going to play a good defensive team, they're going to struggle. They don't have a guy that can take over a game. Because you look at maybe Donovan Dent as their one of their better players. Well, 2-9 shooting. He got all his points from the line, really. And he had 10 assists. He's a great point guard. But Eric Daly, 5 of 12 shooting. Xavier Booker, 4 of 7 shooting. Wasn't really anybody able to build up a continuity. And the big thing, 5 of 13 from threes. I just said it 2 games ago. You're not going to win many games. I don't think you'll win a game against a good team in the tournament shooting 5 of 13 from 3. Now, on the Husky side of things, Taurus Reed had a much more tame game, and I didn't think... I'm honestly surprised he played 29 minutes. I thought they were going to try to give him as much of a break as they could, because obviously a 31-27, and then you're playing 2 days later is not easy. But 10 points, 13 rebounds. It was Alex Caravan's game. 9 of 16 from the field, 4 of 8 from 3. You forget how good he was on those national championship UConn teams, and he's still around. Braylon Mullins, 17 points, 4 rebounds for him. 2.6 assists from Malachi Smith. A bit of an off game from Solo Ball, but Jaden Ross able to fill in for him nicely. So in the East region, it's almost chalk. You have the 1-5 matchup and a 2-3 matchup. Those going down on Friday. We will head to the South Regional, where had some great games. I mean, there is just no doubt about it. Florida beat Prairie View A&M by like 60. Not much to talk about there. 59. It was the second biggest margin of victory in the NCAA tournament history, and Florida just took advantage of playing a team that should not have been in. And I'm not saying Prairie View A&M didn't deserve to make the tournament, but those two teams should not be playing. I mean, it's not a contest. I mean, 12 points from Dante Horn for Prairie View, but I mean, 13 from Condon, 14 from Thomas Houck, 14 and 13 from Ruben Chinyalu, 16 points from Boogie Fland, 10 points from Xavier Lee, 10 from Micah Hanglockton off the bench, 11 for Urban Klavjar off the bench, 8 points from CJ Ingram off the bench. I mean, it was just a collection. I mean, Florida was able to play none of their starters more than 25 minutes, and you're thinking, man, that should set up for a very fresh team heading into the second round. Iowa takes down Clemson 67-61, and Bennett Sturts had a bit of a cold shooting stretch, had 16 points, 4 of 17 though. Cale Combs, 15 points, 14 points from Alvaro Folgaris off the bench. He's becoming one of my favorite players in this tournament. Had a post-game, a funny quote post-game after their second round game that we'll talk about later. And for Clemson, they just don't have a lot when it comes to offensive presence. I mean, R.J. Godfrey's extremely talented, but I'm sitting here looking, and I've watched Clemson this year. I've watched 4 or 5 Clemson games. Who are we really looking at as the second scorer? Is it Dylan Hunter? Because he had the least amount of shots out of all of the starting 5, and you can credit that to Iowa's defense. I picked Clemson on the air for the very reason that Iowa won. I thought Iowa slowing things down, limiting possessions was going to hurt them, because I didn't think they were a great shooting team this year, and they were not in this game. 38% from the field, 28% from 3, but they got to the line 31 times to Clemson's 12. I mean, there's no contest there. If you're able to get to the line that many more times, you're going to win basketball games. Good win for Iowa. They advanced to the second round. Vandy had a bit of a close one with McNeese. Listen, the Cowboys, I didn't think they were at the same level they were last year. Honestly, I think they are at the same level, if not better, than they were last year with Will Wade. I mean, they hung with a very good Vandy team, and we'll talk about them for the second round, too. I mean, for McNeese, 4 of your 5 starters had 10 points. Javon Garcia with 10, Garway Dual with 16, Larry Johnson with 15 and 5, 13 points from Tyshawn Archie. But for Vandy, man, Tyler Tanner was a dog, 26 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. Kid's a stat sheet suffer. And, probably some NBA aspirations. I hope he comes back to Vanderbilt. And this is coming from a guy that, bled orange and white my 4 years of college and, however many years before. I want him to come back. I mean, I think he is one of the more fun players in college basketball to watch. And his jump from year 1 to year 2, they talk about sophomore slumps. Dude, I mean, he got 10 times better this year than he was last year. Developed a jump shot. And if he can get even a little bit better for next year, I mean, Vandy possibly has a Wooden Award winning player at point guard. I mean, Vandy's had some good point guards in their history. Obviously not a long-term one with Darius Garland, but I think Tanner is better than Garland. Elsewhere, Duke Miles with 13 points, 12 points and 8 rebounds from Devin McLaughlin. Only 7 points and 9 rebounds from A.K. Okereke, and 12 points, 3 of 8 from 3 for Tyler Nickel. Listen, Vandy did what they needed to do. They played good defense. They hit shots when they needed to, and got to the line. Out-rebounded them. Forced more. Didn't have as many had twice as many turnovers as McNeese, but those didn't end up hurting them too much. McNeese got 20 more shots off than Vandy, but again, if you're going to shoot 30% against the doors, go ahead and pack the bags. I think I had Troy picked in my bracket that I made on air. maybe the dumbest pick that I made. Listen, I was on the side that I didn't think Nebraska could get it done. And listen, I love Nebraska all season. I was a huge fan. But I don't know. It just felt like they really slacked off there at the end of the season, and I didn't know if they were going to be able to get their first tournament win, and boy, did they ever. 23 points from Price Sanford, Rank Moss, 11.6 boards, 7 assists. Jamarcus Lawrence has 13. Burke Byatunzel with 9 points and 7 rebounds, 13 points from Brayton Frager off the bench, and he shot terribly, and Nebraska rolled. Big win for them heading to the second round. This was an upset I had picked. I don't know if I actually picked. I'm going to go back to my bracket that I picked on air just to make sure. Okay, this was one I picked. I don't know what it was. I just didn't think North Carolina had a chance without Caleb Wilson, and they didn't. Henry Vessar did everything in his power, 26 points, 10 boards. But North Carolina, I mean, you blow a 20-something point lead to VCU, and nothing against VCU. But you blow a 19-point lead in the tournament. That's the largest tournament loss of all time. And let me just check right now, just to make sure he still has a job. Hubert Davis been fired. So as of, well, it says March 23rd. Today is March 24th. But as of yesterday, he still has a job. Hubert Davis does at North Carolina. But I'm not sure how much longer UNC is going to put up with it. And, nothing against UNC, but there's got to be somebody better than Hubert Davis. And, I think he was great on the desk for College Game Day back in the day. When I was 5 or 6 years old growing up, I think he was great. But, man, other than that team that he took to the national championship, I mean, has North Carolina done anything? Because they were preseason number 1 the next year and didn't even make the tournament. I thought this year was his last chance. Probably needed to get to the Sweet 16. We'll see. He'll probably be leading them out of the tunnel in November when the season starts back up, but not a great look. Seth Trimble, 15 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists. 11 points from Jaron Stevenson, 11 points from Derek Dixon. But without Caleb Wilson, this team was going to struggle, and you saw it. Lazar Djokovic with 15 points, 5 rebounds for VCU. Nick Lewis, 16.7 boards. But the story of this one, Terrence Hill plays all 40 minutes, 34 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. He was everything for VCU. And I'm not going to say he's the reason they won that game, but dang, it would have been tough without him. We'll go down to the next game, a team that I am very high on, the Fighting Illini of Illinois. And I just knew it was going to happen just because I talked about him on air, and he had such a good game in the conference tournament. TJ Power did nothing in this game. He had 6 points on 8 shots. Cam Thrower, though, with 14 points. Michael Zanoni with 20 points. But, man, you go over to the Fighting Illini, and I think it was Bill Raftery on the call of this game with Ian Eagle. There was a big dunk, and it was actually the only 2 points, I believe, or 2 of the 6 points that Zvonimir Ivasic scored. And it may have been in that second round game against VCU, but take me to the Balkans. But you look, I mean, you got David Merkovich, Tommy Ivasic, his brother Zvonimir, Ben Hummerkaus, he's from, Mihailo Petrovic, Andrei Stojakovic. I mean, this team has got a ton, and they're all talented. David Merkovich goes for 29 and 17 in the first round matchup. Jake Davis doesn't score. You get 18 from Keaton Wagler, 13 from Colin Boswell, 12 and 7 from Ivasic and Wagler. 18.7 rebounds, 7 assists. Led the team in assists and second in scoring. That's good. Ben Hummerkaus hits 4 threes. He's really taken his game to another level this year. Had a couple of big games last year, but I feel like he's become more consistent in that 6th to 7th man role off the bench. Andrei Stojakovic with 9 points, 6 points from Zvonimir Ivasic, and an easy 35-point win for Illinois. St. Mary's, Texas A&M. I don't think there was a single bracket I picked St. Mary's in. I made 3. I made two ESPN ones, because I made the one on air, and then I made my personal one. And then I made one for the Kalshi $1 billion challenge, because obviously, I mean, that's just like buying a lottery ticket at that point. So threw that one out there, and it's going about as well as you would think, because I actually think I did pick St. Mary's in that one. But the Gales, it just seems like every year they have a great season, regular season. You know, maybe split or sweep Gonzaga. Santa Clara has really emerged in that conference as well to give them a little more challenge. But you look at some of the games that St. Mary's played this year. I mean, they had like a 20-point loss to Vanderbilt. And not saying Vanderbilt's bad, because that's not what I'm saying at all. But they struggle against those really athletic teams that get up and down, and that was the embodiment of Texas A&M. They force turnovers, and they like to get up and down. Forced 18 turnovers for St. Mary's, and nobody other than Joshua Dent and Liam Campbell were in double figures. And again, that's not going to win you a whole lot of games. Only 5 guys scored. Five players scored in that game for St. Mary's. And you only scored 50 points? That's not going to win you a whole lot. And they didn't shoot terribly. I mean, 38% from the field's not great, but you out-rebounded them. It was the turnovers that killed you. Rashawn Agee, 22 points, 9 rebounds. Ruben Dominguez hit 3 threes. Nobody else more than really a couple points. Ali Dibba had 9 off the bench, but big win for A&M. Led them to a second-round matchup against the winner of Houston and Idaho. And again, this is probably one we don't talk about much. Houston 78, Idaho 47. So we have a team, we got a matchup of teams that held someone to 50 and held someone else to 47. 13 points, 4 rebounds for JoJo Tugler. 7 points and 18 rebounds for Chris Signac. Flemings goes for 18.6 boards, 4 assists, 12 points from Milos Uzan, 16 from Emmanuel Sharp, 10 points off the bench from Mercy Miller, and a big Houston Cougar win. So we'll go to the second round. We will start in that 2-10 game. Houston and A&M. Well, Houston did to A&M exactly what A&M did to St. Mary's. 88-57 win for Houston, and that's just a team that had better players. I mean, you know, there's sometimes talk, you could have switched this, could have switched that, this, that, and the other. Houston was a better team. I mean, there's no other way around it. 17-9 from Chris Signac. JoJo Tugler, again, not an offensive guy, but 6 points, 5 rebounds, 3 blocks. Only 9 points from Kingston Flemings. A bit of a slow game from him, but Emmanuel Sharp and Milos Uzan picked up where they left off in the last tournament. 33 points combined between those two. And then again, Mercy Miller with double digits off the bench. Khalifa Sahoko and Chase McCartney combined for 10 off the bench. This Houston team is deep, and they're on a murderer's road to the Final Four, now into the Sweet 16, where they will take on the winner of VCU at Illinois. And more of the same. Illinois just beating up on another team. And I actually believe it was this game that Zvonimir had that dunk. I believe that game was his only 2 points of the game. But 21 off the bench from Stojakovic, 12 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists from Boswell. Keaton Wagler with 14 points, Tommy Ivasic with 14 points. It was a very slow defensive game, and it was just controlled by Illinois. Out-rebounded them 45-29. Only have one more turnover, and that's something that they have a bit of problems with, and just a great game for Illinois. So we got Illinois-Houston in the Sweet 16. Who will they take on? Who will the winner of that game take on in the Elite Eight? Well, we'll start with Vandy, Nebraska. Maybe the best game of the tournament so far. I mean, I was talking about these second-round games being good, and we just talk about 2 blowouts. But, I mean, Kansas St. John's was awesome. I really think that Michigan State-Louisville game is underrated. But Vandy, Nebraska. Again, another game that I didn't think Nebraska had, but what a game. And Tyler Tanner, I mean, I feel for the kid because that was the second game this year that he's had a half-court buzzer beater rim out. 74-72 win for Nebraska. We'll talk about the Cornhuskers first. Leading with 15 points, Bryce Sanford. 12 points, 4 rebounds from Baya Tunsil, 13 and 5 from Rank Moss. A bit of a slower game from Hoiberg and Lawrence, only 9 and 8 points respectively, but Brayton Frager back on a much better shooting percentage wise, just over 50% from the field, only took 3 threes, and he hit the game-winning layup. For Vandy, Tyler Tanner had 27 points, but again, if I feel like this Vandy team, if Duke Miles wasn't doing what he was doing in the SEC tournament, dropping 30 points, they were going to struggle. And 2 of 10 shooting is not the best. But I feel like Okereke and either Nickel or Miles, neither one of them had a good game at the same time. Nickel 5 of 12 from 3. He was really keeping Vandy in that one. I mean, it's kind of hard to. I mean, it's a close game, so but there's not really a big stat that tells you the difference. I mean, Nebraska shot much better, but Vandy got to the line a little bit more. But I think it's the 11 for 19 from the line that killed Vanderbilt. Tough loss for one of the SEC runner up in the tournament. So Nebraska get their first tournament win, and then they get their second ever tournament win. And could be going for 3 as they get the winner of Florida and Iowa. And man, what a game. I mean, let's just get into it. First half was a boxing match. I mean, Florida was just trying. And I am just so glad Florida lost. Usually I don't cheer against 1 seeds. I want the 1 seeds to make it as far as they can because I think they make for a better tournament all around when you have the best teams. I want the 1s and the 2s to make it as far as they can. At least the Elite 8. Obviously, at least the Sweet 16. What I mean there. Then you'll start picking out the best teams. Florida tried to come out and really punch Iowa in the mouth, and it didn't work. I mean, there were some big shots, and I'm talking about not putting the ball through the hoop, some elbows and some shoulders and some running guys over. I mean, it was a football game in the first half, and it was Florida trying to lay the lumber. And, Condon in foul trouble. Chinyalu in foul trouble. Anybody over 6'10" for Florida was in foul trouble. And, Chinyalu plays 19 minutes, gets 1 rebound. I mean, what are we doing here? Alex Condon did all he could, 21 points for him, but, Thomas Houck didn't help, 3 of 11 for him. If he didn't get to the free throw line 12 times, it was a much worse loss. Xavier Lee played good. Boogie flamed out in the tournament once again. But for Iowa, man, I mean, Bennett Sturts played awful again. And if you tell me that Bennett Sturts is shooting, 5 of 16 in the second round and, what was his numbers? 4 of 17 in the first round, I'm wondering how they even made it to the second round. Because he really is the heart of this team. But man, Tavion Banks filled in perfectly. 7 of 10 from the field, 5 of 10 from the free throw line. Cooper Koch hits 4 threes. But no 3 bigger than one coming from Alvaro Fulgaris. He had 14 points off the bench, 3 of 5 from the field, 2 of 4 from 3. Just an excellent game. And I believe it was Cam Maniahu going by the Florida bench doing the Gator chomp at the end of the game. I mean, that was a huge win for Iowa because I didn't have Iowa win in the first game. I didn't have Iowa win in the second game. And again, it was what I thought would hurt them played to their advantage. They slowed the game down and played Iowa basketball. That they played that Ben McCollum brand of basketball. And you go back and look at Florida's games, they were not a good shooting team. I mean, if Boogie Fland if Xavier Lee and Urban Klausjar weren't hitting from outside, you weren't getting many threes from Florida. And really, they weren't a good shooting team. From the field, from the three-point line, free throws, they were all right, but they were not a good shooting team. And Iowa limited their possessions and forced them into some bad shots, and Iowa hit what they needed to hit. Just an absolute great game and huge win for Iowa. As we have Iowa-Nebraska, not only a Big Ten matchup, a Big Ten rivalry matchup in, I don't know, this is the biggest game in Nebraska basketball history. I can go ahead and tell you that. How big of a game is this for Iowa? Game's in Houston. Tickets are outrageously expensive, but that's just how the NCAA tournament is. But it should be an extremely fun matchup because you look at Nebraska's best player, Price Sanford, and I don't know if you remember, but he was a Hawkeye not too long ago. So we will turn it on over to the West bracket where we had a 1-16 matchup in the battle of who's the better IST. Is it Arizona or Long Island? Well, Arizona took that one 92-58. Big first round game for several of the Wildcats. 14 and 10 from Ivan Kurchenkov, 15 points and 7 boards from Koa Pete. Krivas with 9 and 7. Braden Burries was huge from outside, hitting 4 threes, going for 18 points. 7 points from Jaden Bradley. He didn't take a whole lot of shots, but again, this is one of those games where none of the starters played more than 30 minutes. They move on to the second round. Utah State and Villanova. Sorry, I'm still thinking about Iowa. Great game for Utah State. The Aggies, 22 points from Mason Fazlov. MJ Collins with 20, 13 from Adlon Elam. And for Villanova, man, just didn't have a bench. They got 3 points from Devin Askew off the bench. One, how is he still in college? But two, if you're Villanova, I get it. The Big East was bad this year. You probably could win games with 4 players, but when you make it to the NCAA tournament, you need a team. You need to be confident with the 5 guys you throw out there, and probably 2 off the bench, maybe 3. Utah State at least played 3 guys, some pretty good minutes off the bench. Duke Brennan for Villanova, 15 and 8, 25 points from Bryce Lindsey. But again, just a tough go of it for the Wildcats as they finished year 1 under Kevin Willard, and he wants to fire his entire staff during one of those first half timeout breaks. It was a Brian Kelly-esque interview with wanting to fire his whole staff. Wisconsin, High Point. We knew it was going to be a high-scoring game, and I'm one of the very few people that had picked Wisconsin. And I don't know why I do it every year. I watch Wisconsin. I watch probably not enough. I watch the big games, the wins over Michigan, the wins over Purdue, this, that, and the other wins over Illinois. And I think, man, Nick Boyd and John Blackwell are awesome. They got to at least be able to win one game. And that was just not the case. 15 of 40 from 3 for High Point. Wisconsin, 9 of 23. High Point out-rebounded Wisconsin. High Point forced more turnovers on Wisconsin. And in result, they got 9 more shots, and they only needed 1 more point. But my favorite stat of the entire tournament, let me find it here real quick. Chase Johnston had attempted, I believe, 4 2-point shots all year. Hits his first, and it was the 2 points that High Point needed to get over the hump and take out Wisconsin. Got a big game from Cameron Fletcher off the bench, the former Kentucky guy. 23 points from Rob Martin, 11 from Owen Aquino, and 15 from Terry Anderson. We got Arkansas and Hawaii. And again, I just think Arkansas was much too athletic. Not a whole lot to talk about here. 24 points from Darius Acuff. 16 and 12 from Malik Ewan, 19 points from Trevin Brazil, 21 from Malik Thomas, 10 from Billy Richmond, and 7 from DJ Wagner off the bench. As Arkansas has really cut down that lineup here at the end of the season. BYU and Texas. Texas, the winner of the first 4 game, and it wasn't too high on BYU coming into the tournament, and I said exactly why. I thought they had 2 scores. I thought Rob Wright would be able to have a much better game against Texas because Texas had a hard time, against point guards. And A.J. Devonska goes for 35 and 10, but nobody else really helped. The rest of the team only had 36. For Texas, 23 points and 16 boards from Volkatitis, 11 points from Jordan Pope, 14 from Dalen Swain, 19 from Tremont Mark, and a big win for Sean Miller and the Horns. Gonzaga had a bit of a closer battle than they would like with Kennesaw State, but were able to get the win 73-64. Again, this is one of those not a whole lot to talk about. 19 points from Graham Ike, 12 and 12 from Jalen Morley. But again, Davis Fogel was 17 off the bench, but not a whole lot of huge scores in this one. Miami and Missouri. I really thought Missouri had it going, but man, you look, Mark Mitchell, 19 points. T.O. Barrett, no shows. Big shocker there. The Tennessee fan of me thinking, oh, he has a 30-point game against Tennessee and then doesn't do anything the rest of the season. There you go. But, man, I want to give more credit to Miami than taking away from Missouri. Malik Reneau was awesome, and 24 points from him, 17 from Trey Donaldson. Shelton Henderson gives you 15 points. And Trey Donaldson hit 5 threes. Kid was huge. Miami, the big win there, heading on to the second round, where they will take on the winner of Purdue and Queen's University Charlotte, who had their final game of the tournament. final game ever, I think, as a school. They are merging with Elon University. And, again, not a whole lot to talk about for them, but for the Boilermakers, man, Braden Smith, 26 points, 8 assists, became the all-time, in the NCAA all-time leader in assists in this game. Huge. I mean, that's a record that held, I mean, it was Bobby Hurley. And I believe the other guy was some guy from UNC that was in the 70s or 80s. So, those are 45-year standing records. And in today's game, where assists aren't huge. Other than Braden Smith and, I guess, Fears, there's not a whole lot of guys that I think of as, as passing first point guards. Trey Kaufman-Wren goes for 25 and 9 and 11 from Oscar Clough. C.J. Cox gives you 11. Fletcher Lawyer knocks down 4 threes, doing what he does the best. And then some contributions off the bench for Purdue. Second round, Arizona, Utah State. Arizona, a 78-66 victors there. Utah State did a really good job keeping it close the entire game. Forced Arizona to play some guys a lot more than they want. Arizona shot terribly. The only thing that saved them was that, Utah State shot even worse. And one team got to the free throw line 39 times. One team got to the free throw line 11 times. I think if you take away the 8 points from free throws from Utah State and you take away the 27 points in free throws from Arizona, make sure I'm getting my math right. I mean, it's 51 to 58 in favor of Utah State. I mean, I'm not going to say Arizona got bailed out because they more than doubled Utah State on the boards, 54 to 26. 22 offensive rebounds, which is absurd. And I think the even crazier thing of that is Utah State took more shots in this game. But, I mean, again, you get to the free throw line 40 times, good things are going to happen. And everybody that played more than 2 minutes hit multiple free throws in this game for Arizona. Big win there is they are back to the Sweet 16 where they will take on the winner of another high-scoring game, High Point and Arkansas. And this is just a game where you actually had 2 guys going at it. Rob Martin, 30 points for High Point, but man, I think Darius Acuff is the best player in college basketball this year. He's not going to be the first pick in the draft. He probably isn't going to be a first team. Wasn't a first team All-American. He's the best point guard in the country. He is one of the best players in the country. He's going to go as far as Arkansas is going to go as far as he and Malik Thomas can take him. But Malik Thomas has 19 points. You get 15 and 10 from Billy Richmond. 14 and 12 from Malik Ewan. A bit of a slow game from Trevin Brazil, but again, if he can give you anywhere from 8 to 10 points, Arkansas is going to be doing fine. Texas and Gonzaga. Again, not sure how to feel. I didn't know how to feel about this one coming in. Texas gets a win over BYU, but Gonzaga didn't look good against Kennesaw State. And listen, other than Graham Ike, nobody showed up this entire tournament for Gonzaga. It was just not great. You had 9 points from Inacetti, 9 points from St. Supre. Worley gives you 10, but you look at Texas, 17 from Volcatitis, 17 from Pope, 11 from Swain, 12 from Cody off the bench, 8 from Kendall Weaver off the bench. It was a complete team effort. And, Gonzaga did out-rebound them, but Texas, man, just able to get it done. They hit 4 more shots, and you look, it's a 6-point win. We will go to Miami-Purdue, which was a pretty good game all the way through. Purdue really pulling away at the end. 79-69 winners there. Trey Kaufman-Wren, 19 and 9, 11 points from C.J. Cox, 12 points, 8 assists for Braden Smith. 8 turnovers, though. Maybe something to keep an eye on. That's not a number that has been by his name a lot. He almost had a triple-double off turnovers. 24 points from Fletcher Lawyer. If he can get to the line 8 times like he did in that game, he's going to be scoring in the 20s. He's such a good shooter, and if he can get to and the thing is, I just feel like his struggle is getting to the line, but if he can, good luck. 18 points from Shelton Henderson. A bit of a slower game from Malik Rayneau, only 6 of 15 shooting. 4 of 15 shooting from Trey Donaldson was not as successful from outside. And Miami going home after the round of 32. So, Sweet 16 in the West, we have Arizona, Arkansas, Purdue, and Texas. Almost chalk, but thank you, Texas, giving us a double-digit seed in the Sweet 16. I'm not sure how many years in a row. This is a team from the first 4 making the Sweet 16. Now into the Midwest. We will start with our 116 matchup, Michigan-Howard. Hey, listen, the Bison kept it close. It was a 4-point game at the half, 50-46, and boy, could these teams score. Getting up and down quickly. 19 points from Cedric Taylor, 21 from Cam Gillis, 21 from Bryce Harris. But man, Michigan, he's got too many guys. Too many guys. 21 points from 10 rebounds from Morez Johnson. Axel Lindeborg, not the best game, only 9 points, 2 of 5 shooting, but Ademara, 19.7 boards, 6 assists, 3 blocks. Elliot Cadeau with 5 points, 9 assists. Namari Burnett hits 3 threes. He has 15 points. Roddy Gale, 14 points off the bench. Trey McKinney, 10 points off the bench. I thought losing LJ Taysom would hurt this Michigan team, but not as much as I may have expected. Then we go on to Georgia and St. Louis. And boy, have we ever seen a lopsided 8-9 game like this. Billikens 102, Dogs 77. And Georgia still, I'm going to, again, fact check this. Win. Let's see. Yeah, I believe it was 2002. The last time Georgia won an NCAA tournament game. I was not alive. And we'll keep going as long as Mike White's the coach there. I like his brother because he's done great things at Tennessee in the athletic department, but I mean, Mike White hasn't won anything of significance, really. I mean, he had some decent teams at Florida, had some decent teams at Georgia, but look, I think if he leaves Georgia and 5 years later you look back at Georgia, they're probably in a much better spot. That's just my thoughts on things. But for the Billikens, 12 points from Robbie Avila. Amari McCautry with 13 and 9 points for Quentin Jones, 18 from Deion Brown. And then you go to the bench, Ishan Sharma with 12 points, 9 points from Paulinho, Brady Dunlap with 11 points from Kellen Thames. I mean, they had the whole team out there. And you shoot 60% from the field and out-rebound an SEC team by double digits, you're going to win games. You look at Georgia, Cannon Catchings, 0 for 11. Santos Surreal, 12 minutes. Kareem Stagg, only 5 points. Smurf Millender gives you 13, but that's really it. You get 30 points from Jeremiah Wilkinson, but, I mean, it was just bad. I mean, 3 of your starters didn't play one full half, didn't play 20 minutes. And it's because they combined, I mean, the starting lineup that Georgia, or that the ESPN has listed, scored a grand total of 24 points in the game. I mean, that's a sure, you're 22 and 11, you won 2 out of every 3 games you played, but that's one of those where you got to go check yourself in the mirror after that one, Georgia. Texas Tech Akron, 91-71 win for the Red Raiders. And funny enough, LaJuan Watts fouled out of this game with about 8 minutes to go, and then Texas Tech turned it up a notch. 24 points from Jalen Petty, 15 from Donovan Atwell, 18 points from Christian Anderson, 14 from LaJuan Watts, and 16 from Josiah Mosley off the bench. Great scores, and really other than Amani Lyles and Shamal Scott for Akron, who scored 46 of their 71, not a whole lot of offense. And the Red Raiders on to the round of 32. Alabama Hofstra was a 2-point Bama lead at the half, and listen, I picked Hofstra, and I'm saying that proudly. I picked it for the simple fact that what was Alabama going to be looking like without Aiden Holloway? They played games without him this year, and they've won games without him this year, but when it's tournament time and you got a good 3-point shooting team like the Hofstra Pride, who I believe hadn't made the tournament since Jay Wright was their coach, or Jay Wright was the coach that coached their coach when he played at Hofstra. I believe that's what it was. But again, it held with them in the first half, but Bama just too much in the second half. Aiden Sherrill, 15 and 15, 29 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, almost a triple-double for LeBaron Philon. Latrell Reitzel hitting from outside, Amari Allen hitting from outside, Taylor Bowen with 15 points. A great win for the Tide, and they head on to the round of 32. Tennessee and Miami, Ohio. One that I was very nervous about going into, but the Vols did what they needed to do. Peter Suter had a day. 27 points, 7-12 from the field, 4-7 from 3, 9-10 from the free throw line. He could not miss. Unfortunately, everyone else on Miami, Ohio was doing that in bulk. 3 of 12 shooting from Brant Byers, only 9 points from him. Luke Skajak with 4. Ian Elmer with 4. 2 of 10 shooting. Trey Perry, nothing off the bench. Omar Atlason, I was really excited to see him play. He only played 15 minutes on 1 of 4 shooting. For the Vols, Jacoby Gillespie was awesome. 29 points, 9 assists was huge. JP Estrella, 14 and 10. Felix Okpara had 12 and 5, did not miss a shot. Bishop Boswell hit a 3, didn't play a whole lot. You got some good minutes from Ethan Berg off the bench with 7 points, 2 threes. Amari Evans gives you 6 points. Dwayne Brown with 5. But it was a name I didn't say. Nate Ament played 18 minutes, didn't score. Took 3 shots. You could tell. That was a guy that was at about probably 60% out there trying to play. And, didn't have to play a lot. Tennessee got up to a 19-point lead at the half and, just pretty much played keep away the second half. You went from 51 points in the first half to 27 in the second. Slowed things down and really didn't need to stress nothing. But, listen, that was a Miami Redhawks team that had played 33 games and lost 1. And afterwards, they had played 34 and lost 2. So a big win for the Vols as they move on to the next round. Wright State and Virginia. Wright State actually had a 5-point lead at the half, and the Raiders definitely gave the Cavaliers a run for their money. And, it was Callaghan with 18 points and 19 and 10. Ima Rogby. Dominic Pagonis had a bit of a slow day, one for 4 from outside. TJ Birch with 15 points, 13 off the bench from Michael Cooper. But for the Cavs, it was a very spread out affair, we'll say. 10 points from Dista Ritter, 12 points Sam Lewis, 11 points from Malik Thomas, 26 off the bench from Jakari White, 10 of 12 from the field, 6 of 8 from 3. He was awesome. And the Cavs have a big second half, push them over to the round of 32. Kentucky and Santa Clara, the best of the first round games by far. One I was listening to on the radio on the way home from a game I was calling on Friday. I don't remember exactly what the score was. I believe it was 73 all going into overtime. It was 70-68. Kentucky had the ball underneath their own basket with about 10 seconds. Get a layup, go down. I can't remember exactly who it was that hit the 3. It may have been Mahi that hit it for, I don't remember exactly who it was that hit the 3 for Santa Clara. Hit a 3 to go up 73-70. Kentucky, no timeout, get it to Oweh, throws it up from half court, banks it in. And at that point, you knew when it was going to overtime. Sorry, Santa Clara, Kentucky's not losing this game. Osega Oweh puts up Larry Bird numbers, 35 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, 17 points from Odi Abate, 8 boards to go with that. Brandon Garrison, 10 and 7, 6 blocks. He was awesome. But really, no one else from Kentucky showed up. Denzel Aberdeen had 16 points, but you had 4 guys show up to a game where you need 5 on the floor at all times, and that's something that could cause some problems coming ahead, especially when your matchup is going to be the winner of Tennessee State and Iowa State. And boy, if you saw that score early, you knew it was going to be Iowa State. Josh Jefferson goes down early in this game with a high ankle sprain, but Killian Torrey fills in 25 points, 17 points from Momcilovic. 50% three-point shooter is going to hit several threes per game. Blake Buchanan with 11. 22 from Nate Heiss off the bench. But, you had guys like Pletta come in and have 9 points. Dominic Nelson with 9 points. Jamarion Bateman with 8 points. It was a real team effort there. So we will head into the round of 32. Michigan-St. Louis. It's a close game in the first half, but Michigan had no problems there. Yaxel Lindeborg, much better, 25 points, 15 from Morez Johnson, 16 from Ade Mara, 12 from Elliot Cadeau, and 11 from Namari Burnett. If all of those guys are putting up those numbers, you're not going to beat Michigan. Avila, slow game. Kotri, a slow game. Deion Brown hit a 3. But the only person that hit multiple threes in this game was Avila, who hit 3 of them, and Brady Dunlap, who hit 3 as well, and St. Louis could not keep up in the second half. Texas Tech and Bama, unfortunately the worst of the second-round games, was the final game of the night. I'm just sitting there trying to throw something on to relax and go to bed, and it's just Bama just putting on a shooting clinic. 19 of 42 from 3 is insane. It was 19 of 38. They missed their last 4, but if you're putting up 38 threes and hitting half of them, good luck. Alabama hit 11 twos, 19 threes, and 11 free throws. And the kind of teams that give Alabama troubles are the teams that are big and physical on the interior, that can control the rebound, that can control the the physicality and the pace of the game. And I think Texas Tech, well, obviously they were missing that with JT Toppin, but I don't think they tried to slow down the game. And when you got guys shooting as bad as they were, I mean, Alabama put on a defensive clinic as well as the shots falling. And I think those kind of go hand in hand. LeBaron Philon, 2 of 12 shooting, well, realized he wasn't hitting, 12 assists. You have Latrell Wrightsell hit 6 threes, 24 points, 15 points off the bench with Houston Millette hitting 5 threes. London Jemison hits 2 threes. I mean, Noah Williamson didn't miss a shot. He had 8 points. And, he was big in the tournament last year for Bucknell, so glad he can try to get back to those numbers, and he's going to be big in the Tides matchup against Michigan if they want to try to compete with those big guys. Tennessee 79, Virginia 72, as Rick Barnes has won his 10th NCAA tournament game. Or I believe it was Tennessee had won their 10th NCAA tournament game since 2007. That was like the second most, or the fifth most, or something like that, behind like Duke, Carolina, Kansas, those teams that are winning championships. More than Houston, Kentucky, teams like that. I mean, Kentucky haven't won a tournament game. It feels like in forever, or more than one. Nate Ament much better, 16 points in this one, 7 points, 8 boards from Felix Block-Para, who had 4 blocks, 10 points, 5 rebounds from JP Estrella, who didn't miss a shot, looked really good, hit a big shot down the stretch, but was battling foul trouble in the first half, and Rick Barnes was very unpleased with that. Jacoby Gillespie, 21.6 assists again. He's averaging 25 points a game in the tournament for Tennessee with 7 or 8 assists. And I was reading that the only other players that had put up those numbers so far through the tournament was Billy Donovan in 1984 and Kemba Walker in 2011. Billy Donovan's team in 84 made the Final Four. Kemba Walker in 2011 won the Natty. So here's your outlier, because I don't think this Tennessee team's got it. Did everything they could to try to lose this game. But Bishop Boswell showed up big, 13 points, 9 boards for him, 10 points from Jalen Carey off the bench, and he was big as well. DeRitter, 22 points. Malik Thomas had 12, hit 3 threes. But really, other than that, I mean, Jakari White hit a couple of big shots in the first half, but man, when it came down to it, air ball. And the Vols able to come away with a big win. And again, the free throw line. 19 to 25 for Tennessee, 6 of 11 for Virginia. And Virginia fans can complain as much as they want about, the SEC team got more calls, blah, blah, blah. Listen, you had 11 free throws and you hit 6. 55% is awful. 76%, I'd like a 75 to 80, so I'm good with that. But you look, who missed the free throws for Tennessee? Ament missed one, playing on a bum ankle. Boswell missed one. Akpara missed one. Not good free throw shooters. And then Jalen Carey missed 3 because, I mean, if I needed somebody to hit 2 free throws to save me from save this world from the aliens, with the death laser scenario that the Max Kellerman made up, and he wanted Iguodala, I don't want Jalen Carey. He would probably be the last person I would select. And I had some friends with me. Man, why isn't Carey in at the end of the game? Because Estrella was having some hard time ripping down some rebounds. It's like, dude, if you put him to the line, we will lose this game. And Tennessee, big free throws down the stretch to win them that one. So, our Sweet 16, we have Duke St. John's in the East, along with Michigan UConn. Those games are being played at Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C. We have Arizona, Arkansas, along with Purdue and Texas. Those games are played at the SAP Center in San Jose. The Midwest is, I believe, at the United Center. Yes, I didn't know if it was United Center or Allstate Arena. Michigan, Alabama, Tennessee, Iowa State. And then in Houston, where we have the South bracket with Iowa, Nebraska, and Illinois, and Houston. Boy, that's rough. You got, for Illinois, if they were over on the other side of the bracket, they're playing in Chicago, and now they're stuck playing Houston in Houston. But hey, it's going to be a ton of fun. We will be back tomorrow where we are going to break down all of these Sweet 16 and potential Elite 8 matchups to get you ready for the weekend. And we will also go back over some more local sports as always. And I may throw in a little college baseball to just get everybody caught back up. But that will do it for this Tuesday edition of the Mark My Words College Sports Show here on the X Sports Network. You'll have games coming up here in a few minutes. And there are also probably some going on as we speak right now. But again, our games of the day, we've got Loretto Cascade at 6, Summertown Spring Hill at 6, in the baseball side. On the softball side, Lawrence County, Franklin County at 5:30, Loretto Rogers at 4:30, Summertown Cascade at 5:30. Those games all, again, we do update a local sports scoreboard every day, brought to you by McDonald's HVAC. So definitely check that out. We try to keep everything up to date on there. And again, the Loretto Cascade game starting somewhere in the 6 to 6:30 range, but don't worry, we'll have it all covered on the X Sports Network. So for Michael Marks, this has been the Mark My Words College Sports Show. We'll see you tomorrow.
Going the distance with local sports. This is the X Sports Network.